we want to throw you in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah.
But what you don't know is that before we throw, like, we're like, you come in and you're like, hey, I want to come in. Like, I'm scared. Should I? Like, no problem. Come here. And we put a life vest on you.
Yeah.
And we tether ourselves next to you, but we just jump in with you, and we go and we're there, knowing that we know for a fact you're going to survive, and we know for a fact you're going to be a strong swimmer.
Mm-hmm.
But to us, there's this wasted time in decision making and in learning certain like every person has to go through the same steps over and over and over again in order to get to the real coaching. And it's like, no, we're gonna let everybody get there right away. We will backtrack per person. So I don't expect you to know anything, and I expect you to know everything when you come into the class.
Yeah.
Therefore, I'm not going to make you go through and learn a bunch of stuff that you already know. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I'm not going to assume automatically that you know everything. Therefore, as soon as my ear hears, like, oh, you know what? And I'll question you. Did you do this? And you're like, what is that? And I'm like, boom, lesson. You need to hear this. If you need to hear this, probably other people need to hear this too. And we kind of go down that path. And that's what it means. Like, we're gonna teach you to swim by throwing you in the middle of the water, instead of saying, okay, step one, put on a bathing suit. You know, like, we already got that. It's okay. Like, we're already there. We've already decided to do this. Let's just do it.
Yeah. And that's what's interesting about having a coach too, I think, is I've seen it here, but just the idea of having a coach and having a good coach is one that will push you in the right directions. But you get a coach because the coach can see things in you before you see them in yourself, right?
Yeah.
So talking about that idea, you're like, we'll tether ourselves to you and throw you in. Well, you wouldn't do that, and I've seen you hold back and Brian hold back or whatever, depending on where the person's at, because you don't do that unless you see and you know this person can do this. They totally have the skills and the confidence to do this. They just don't think they can, right? And they're holding themselves back in their head. They have that little, everybody's got it, but that self-awareness and that insecurity. And if that's what we can strip away as a coach, that's huge, because once you're out of your head, then you get to make those decisions and be free. And that's the deciding factor, I think, between starting to become a great actor, is being able to be yourself and be free on stage or behind a camera or wherever you are. Because then that's when you can really start making the coaching and the decisions and the stuff you've learned and putting that into action. Because if you're in your head, it's really hard to do that.
Yeah, well, that point comes back to our values, and the number two being to center everything in love. And to center everything in love doesn't mean that we're going to be like, oh, and so lovey-dovey in every critique. It's not how it goes. It's like, how do I love each person as an individual? And this is one of those hard things to describe to people sometimes, is the idea of how do we have a group class and yet be individualized in our training. And the answer is, you read the person, and every person needs to be loved and pushed and coached differently. And so I might look at a particular person, and by feeling out the relationship and getting to a certain place, they may react best to me sort of getting in their face, to challenging them, to like calling them out publicly. Somebody who's got a really tough mental personality. Let's say some of our clients who are celebrities, or some of them who are have been in the military, or some of the CEOs I've worked with, like, they prefer that in your face, tough, call me out, challenge me, push me, be harsh with me, because I need that language. That language helps to motivate me. And at the same time, what's interesting is all those same people, they also very much need and require the compliments when they deserve it.
Yeah.
So it's like, if we give a if we give a harsh critique but are not willing to show and demonstrate when someone's doing great, you kind of miss that too. Anyway, so then you take another person, and like you said, truth be told, they need to be complimented on the fact that they showed up today.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to treat each person differently. So that's how we can teach the same concept across multiple people, and it becomes very customized, very individualized training.